This is a video from eSkillZone. For more videos, notes, and certificates, please visit www.eskillzone.com. Hello, in the previous video, we have discussed the history of the computers. We also study the generations of the computer, from first generation to the fifth generation. In this video, and other videos to come, we are discussing the hardware devices. There are many devices which are used externally for controlling computer programs. In this video, we are discussing the hardware device, which connects the computer to hardware devices, for example, keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, etc. Yes, we are talking about the port present in the computer. Before studying the port, we have to know that what is a system bus? Because CPU needs to communicate with other devices, it uses the system bus to connect with external hardware devices. The CPU must be able to communicate with all devices. The devices are connected together by a communications channel called a bus. A bus is composed of a set of communication lines or wires. It is used to move large amount of bits in the form of electrical pulses from a specified source to a specified destination. The bus is used to connect the following units: Central Processing Unit, Control Unit, Arithmetic and Logic Unit, Main Memory, RAM, ROM, Input, Output Devices, Ambers, Letters, or Special. Result of the comparison: computer is able to tell whether mobile phone bus is the common path which is used to send, receive data and commands to, from CPU and memory and all input, output devices. It is also used to send, receive data from secondary storage. The capacity of a bus depends upon the number of data lines it contains. Bus with 16 lines can carry 16 bits, 2 bytes, at a time, whereas bus with 32 lines can carry 32 bits, 4 bytes, at a time, and so on. There are 3 different buses in the computer system: data bus, address bus, control bus. The most common bus is the data bus. A data bus carries data. It is an electrical path that connects the central processing unit, CPU, memory input, output devices, and secondary storage devices. The bus contains parallel group of lines. The number of lines in the bus affects the speed at which the data travels between different components. Just like the number of lanes on a motorway affect the amount of traffic. Greater number of lanes on road means more cars can pass through it, more lines are present in the bus, it can carry more data. E.g., a bus with 16 lines can carry 16 bits, 2 bytes, and a bus with 32 lines can carry 32 bits, 4 bytes, of data. Buses are designed in such a way that they can communicate with the components in an efficient way. In old computers, buses were able to carry only 1 byte of data, but with the improvement in technology, the buses present in today's computer can carry multiple bytes at one time, thus improving the speed and performance of computers. Next, we are going to discuss the second type of the system bus, which is called the address bus. An address bus carries address information. It is a set of wires, similar to the data bus, but it only connects central processing unit, CPU, and memory. Whenever The processor needs data from the memory. It places the address of data on the address bus. The address is carried to the memory, where the data from the requested address is fetched and placed on the data bus. The data bus carries it to the processor. The reason for the importance of address bus is that the number of lines in the address bus determines the maximum number of memory addresses. If an address bus has 8 lines, the maximum number of memory locations that can be addressed are 2 is equal to 256. Today's computers have 32-bit address lines, so they can access GB, gigabyte, of memory. The control bus carries control information from the control unit to the other units. The control information is used for directing the activities of all units. The control unit directs the transfer of data to the ALU from the memory. This data is used by ALU for processing. The control unit also controls the functioning of other units' input, output devices, secondary storage, etc. Now, let's talk about the input and output devices more briefly. A computer is only useful when it is able to communicate with the external environment. When we work with the computer, we feed data and instructions through some devices to the computer. These devices are called input devices. Similarly, computer, after processing data and instructions, gives output called output device. Let's talk about our main topic, which is the ports. A port that can be defined as a socket that enables an external device, such as a printer, be attached to the computer. All communication between a computer and external devices is the result of properly connected ports. On every computer, a port's connections are attached to a motherboard. There are 3 basic types of ports: serial port, parallel port, USB port, which is called the universal serial bus. Today's computers have all these types of ports, with each type doing a different function. Firstly, we will discuss the important port of the computer. Yes, I am talking about the serial port of the computer. A serial port allows a serial hardware device to communicate with the computer by transmitting 1 bit of information at a time. Serial devices, such as mouse, modems, and keyboards, do not require fast data transmission rates. Serial ports, often referred to as communications (COM) ports. It is an external port on the back of the computer that attaches directly to the PC motherboard. These ports were one of the early ports put on computers. Older serial ports also used 25-pin connectors for their serial port, but most new computers with serial ports feature only 9 pins. A parallel port lets an external parallel device communicate with the computer by transmitting more bits, such as 8 or 25 of data at a time, therefore is much faster than a serial port. Most devices that send or receive large amounts of data, such as printers and scanners, use parallel ports. Parallel ports are often referred to inline printer (LPT) ports. The parallel port is the largest pin on the rear of your PC, comprising 25 lines that include 17 signal lines and 8 ground lines. Now, we are going to discuss the most using port by peoples around the world. Yes, I am talking about the USB, which stands for the Universal Serial Bus. USB, Universal Serial Bus, is a plug-and-play hardware interface for peripherals such as the keyboard, mouse, joystick, scanner, printer, and modem. USB has a maximum bandwidth of 12 megabits per second, and up to 127 devices can be attached. With USB, a new device can be added to the computer without having to add an adapter card. It typically is located at the back of the PC. Where are the USB ports? All modern computers have at least one USB port. Now, we discuss the list of the typical locations where you can find them. Desktop computer. A desktop computer usually has 2 to 4 ports in the front and 2 to 8 ports in the back. Laptop computer. A laptop computer has between 1 and 4 ports on the left, right, or both sides of the laptop. Tablet computer. The USB connection on a tablet is located in the charging port and is usually micro USB and sometimes USB-C. Some tablets have additional ports, USB ports. Smartphone. Similar to tablets, the USB port on smartphones is used for both charging and data transfer in the form of USB-C or micro USB. Now, we discuss about the USB cables. Length and type. USB cables are available in multiple lengths, from a few inches to over 16 feet. The maximum length of a USB cable is 16 feet, 5 inches, 5 meters, for high-speed devices, and 9 feet 10 inches, 3 meters, for low-speed devices. These maximum lengths are due to data transfer timing and the risk of data loss. There are different types of USB cables as well. As we mentioned above, there are different transfer speeds, 2.0 and 3.0, for USB. Similarly, there are different types of USB cables to match with those speeds. You can get a USB 2.0 cable for use with a device using USB 2.0 or USB 3.0 cable for use with a device using USB 3.0. USB extension cables can connect to one end of a USB cable. USB version compatibility. Each version of USB port is backward compatible and forward compatible, meaning it can support any version below or above its current number. For example, devices designed with USB 1.1 and 2.0 technology work in a 3.0 port. However, it should be noted that devices with lower versions run at their native transfer speeds even though USB 3.0 is capable of higher. One of the greatest features of the USB is hot swapping. This feature allows a device to be removed or replaced without the past prerequisite of rebooting and interrupting the system. Older ports required that a PC be restarted when adding or removing a new device. Rebooting allowed the device to be reconfigured and prevented electrostatic discharge, ESD. That's all for this video. See you next time. This is a video from eSkillZone. For more videos, notes, and certificates, please visit www.eskillzone.com.